I'm Sir Al Ainslie-Green, the Independent Children's Commissioner for England. This series highlights key areas of concern for the 11 million children and young people in our country. And this programme looks at how best practice in tackling bullying is happening in our schools. I first went to Portway School in Hampshire to see for myself what they're doing. At Portway, head teacher James Levitt feels bullying is a thing of the past. And I asked him what had produced such a startling change.
I think it's a byproduct of the huge amount of work that we have done based around the rights respecting curriculum, which we first came in contact with in a visit to Canada about 4 years ago.
Tell us a bit more about the Rights Respecting Schools programme. I know this had its origins in Cape Breton in Canada.
And what came out from being in Canadian schools was the fact that children had an integral part in designing codes of conduct that were thing.
Right.
So that it was a contract,
right.
And it wasn't just thou shalt not.
Right.
It was also we do this, there are consequences to our actions, and if we have a right to privacy, then so does everybody else, for example.
So was that a bit of a shock to the system to see children so actively involved in making decisions?
I think it's been a gradual process, and I first came back, we said we'd like staff to look at a different way in which they set about arriving at a classroom charter, and in fact arrive at a classroom charter,
yes, that
everyone debated and everyone agreed to and teachers signed up to, where that's not an issue.
Yes.
But for our children, it was definitely about empowering them to give them a voice, and student voice has been something that has been a major aspect of the whole development of the rights agenda here.
We have a right to privacy.
We have the right to a safe environment.
We have a right to an opinion and for it to be listened to.
A right to an education, because if you get bullied, then you won't want to come to school, and that's losing your right to an education.
You have the right not to be abused, left out, or offended in any way.
I'm at the school to hear about the Rights Respecting Schools programme, and I'm especially interested in what you think about bullying. Bullying really is nasty when it happens. So what happens in this school when someone does bully somebody else?
Sometimes we have clubs during lunchtimes,
yes,
and things that people can go to if they're feeling upset or lonely.
Right.
And then when they're there, they can make friends, and
right,
that will stop bullying.
Can you think of any examples where the counsellors have really made things different in the school?
Well, before we might have had some bullying incidents, but
yes,
the counsellors, they've split break time, so I think it's 3 and 5
yes,
that go for one break, and 4 and 6, so that
yes,
the bullying is sort of changed so that it won't happen anymore.
What was the school like before this Rights Respecting Schools programme started?
It was not like the bullying was everywhere, but there were quite a few more cases of it.
Yes.
And it's sorted out a lot because we've got a better way to handle it.
Next, I met with 2 members of staff at Portway who put the United Nations Convention of Children's Rights into real practice. They're pretty sophisticated concepts, aren't they? Human rights, children's rights.
Yeah.
How do you start approaching that subject with children of this age?
It was really easy because it's all about themselves and they wanted to know what was out there for them.
Yes.
And then obviously starting with the older ones, it was then easy to implement it within the rest of the school.
Yes.
So that they were able to see what impact it was having.
So how does this relate to the occurrence and the management of bullying in your school?
Well, we've used a lot of the respect and the responsibilities in talking about behaviours that are bullying behaviours, and the children are much more open now with talking about it and talking about what's happened to them and how it's made them feel, knowing that the rest of the children around them, if it's a group that you're talking with, are listening to and empathising with their feelings.
Yes.
So we've had issues with individual children and we've got them together as almost like a mini circle time.
Yes.
And everyone's had the opportunity to voice their opinion, to say how they feel,
yes,
and everyone's listened, and the event's been brought to a conclusion.
Interested to hear you say that you use circle time, so you're also using social and emotional aspects of learning.
Yeah.
And they're complementary for the Rights Respecting programme?
Oh, absolutely. We've used the SEAL materials for year group assemblies.
Yes.
Sam's been working very hard with the school council,
right,
and the school council have decided to lead class and group assemblies on the theme of bullying,
right,
with their year groups, so the children lead them themselves.
Right.
The teachers take an active part when appropriate or when
yes,
necessary, but mostly they're child-led. and it's certainly done a lot to reduce the incidences that were happening.
Right. I mean, this is pretty challenging stuff, isn't it, to many adults?
Yes.
Who say, surely you're taking away childhood by giving children too young to have responsibilities and to actually have these concepts to deal with. Surely they should just be children. How do you react to that?
I disagree with that. Well, because it's that for their well-being at the end of the day. Therefore, they need to know how to make an active role in society. And if you don't teach those skills at this age, then they won't make an active citizen in later life.
Those anti-bullying skills are put into practice at the adjacent Portway Infant School by junior school ambassadors.
Well, if we find someone who's unhappy, we take them out and talk to them about it and find out what it is that they're unhappy about, and then we do what we can to sort it out, maybe find a friend for them to look after them.
One of the benefits of having the ambassadors is that they've engaged the children in positive play, and because they use that positive play with the other children, it's had an impact right throughout the school. And it's certainly an impact on behaviour, that we don't have the poor behaviour and the teasing that we might have had before. The children play much more cooperatively.
The rights-respecting work at Thornhill Secondary School in Sunderland is also strong, and peer mentor coordinator Anne Greenfield has developed an anti-bullying programme called TARA.
TARA stands for Thornhill Against Racism and Harassment, and TARA began in about 1998 when a pupil in school reported to a member of staff that they didn't feel safe in the schoolyard. They were having problems in the schoolyard. So we then started a drop-in 2 lunchtimes a week where pupils could come into a classroom if they weren't comfortable in the yard. From 2000 we took 20 peer mentors on a training course with facilitators from outside agencies to give them some ideas of how to listen to people, how to answer questions, how to ask open and closed questions, and also lots of information about different aspects that young people may have problems with in this day and age.
We're going to take in turn to go around the circle and say something that's like similar to everyone in this room, okay? Right. So I go to Thornhill School.
Me too. I have a belly button.
Me too.
I've got a brain.
Me too. Because we've said something that's similar to everyone, we're going to say something now that's different, that's individual to you, okay?
Yeah, I've got a scarf on.
Not me.
I'm a different nationality to everyone in this room.
Not me.
I'm the youngest in the school.
Not me.
My mum's called Mary.
Not me. Right, we played this game because usually bullies pick on people who are different. The game represents individuality and it celebrates that although we might have our differences, we're all the same.
Peer mentors decided that they would be identifiable around school by braid on their blazer sleeves, so they could be approached at any time without anybody identifying that they were speaking to someone because they had a problem.
So this question, where does bullying happen in Thornhill, shows that it can happen anywhere. So we're going to move on to the next question.
What is bullying?
When someone hurts someone else.
Yeah.
When someone calls someone another name, like a name.
Yeah.
When a student picks on a weaker student.
Peer mentors are given a broad training on issues that might affect young people today and affect their learning in school. Some of the issues include questioning and listening skills, racism, asylum seekers, young people's health awareness, drug abuse, domestic violence, contraception and unwanted pregnancies.
You feel better talking to a peer mentor about bullying. So if you disagree, go to that side, and if you agree, go to that side.
The peer mentors have been nominated for the Diana Princess of Wales Anti-Bullying Award for the last 3 years and have achieved that award for the last 3 years, and the school has been allocated silver school status by the Diana Award.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Nahia.
I'm in year 11.
And I'm in year 8.
When I was in year 10 and he was in year 7, she was having a bit of trouble, so I was assigned as her buddy to help her through it.
Basically, I was getting bullied during school time and when I was walking home, and the bullying was done by people from my own school. It was devastating. I mean, I was going home and I was in tears. And I was just distraught. My confidence went straight down, and I'm a really good student, but you could see that in my schoolwork. You know, everything went down. You know, I was just all over the place. I was on the phone with my dad and he just told me that he was heartbroken to hear his daughter in tears because some people were so inconsiderate, and I was just crying all the time, and I wasn't eating anymore because I was just upset at everything. You know, people were spitting on me because of my skin colour, and they were spitting. I was coming home and spit because people used to think it was really funny, and I was just broken.
Nahir came to me and I asked her where it was mainly happening, and she said on the way home. So we started to walk home and like to and from school together. I felt really upset for her, and I just really hoped that I could help her.
It got a lot better, things around me helped a lot better, and the confidence that had gone down had just risen back up again. I've got friends now, I'm quite popular, you know.
And I think bullying's a really good idea in schools because, I mean, it's shown here that it's worked for us, so it can work everywhere.
And I wouldn't know what I would have been like now if I hadn't had bullying.
Peer mentoring is so successful because I think pupils much prefer to talk to one of their own rather than a member of staff. Even though our peer mentors do say to the pupils when they are approached, if you tell me something that I am concerned about as a peer mentor, I may have to tell somebody else. I think the sort of age group that they're talking to, the fact that one may be a 12-year-old and one's a 15-year-old, it makes the peer mentor far more accessible than, say, talking to a 40-year-old teacher or a 25-year-old teacher.
The film was like saying that if there's a bully, you should point them out.
The chairperson for racial equality had heard that we were doing a lot of work in the Sunderland area regarding the respect to gender. So they asked could they come up and visit the school, and they saw 3 specific groups in school. They saw The Word, our anti-bullying rap group. They saw our peer mentors in action, the Tara group, and they also saw our Thornhill Arts Included group. And when she visited with her team, she saw these 3 groups in action and was very, very impressed indeed.
Let me introduce as The Word, trying to take racism and kick it to the curb. We're all the same underneath, no matter the skin color. This is a huge problem we need to get through.
It is funded now by the LEA because it is having such a major impact and gets such an excellent message over to pupils in the form of rap music, which the pupils understand.
Don't you ever let up, gotta keep your head up. If you're gonna fall, you just gotta get up.
Don't let people put you down. Touch the sky, but keep your feet firmly on the ground.
Going to give it up to Sophie and bring it to the world.
A happy child is an achieving child, and I like to think that the peer mentoring system in Thornhill has contributed a lot to the advancement in our achievement.
Bullying really matters to children and young people, whether they be bullied or bystanders or bullies themselves. Here we've seen 2 outstanding examples of what can be done, but key to success is listening to children and young people and engaging them in the solutions to the problem.